All right, welcome and good evening. Welcome to tonight's Kira 101 session. Here it's a couple minutes after 6. We may still have people dropping in throughout the night, but I want to make sure that I notify everyone that we're being recorded. When we finish with this, I will load this video up onto my YouTube channel and link it through social media. That way you'll have a chance to go back and look at it in case you got any questions. And as always, you can always shoot me a line. Let me know what you need, and I'll work it into the next one. And I'll make sure that I help you right then, because no offense, waiting for a week to get the answer to a question isn't the way I work. My name is Harl Rain. I'm an educator in Tennessee. I teach at Collierville High School just outside of Memphis, Tennessee. It's my 28th year in education. I retired from Mississippi after 25 years, and I've taught 29 subjects in those 28 years. So when I come at you, I'm coming at you with a little bit of experience, not as much as others. I understand that. But I've been in CTE since 2001, and I feel I got a good feel for the way that things are going on. I was blessed enough that I got to get introduced to this Kira platform. And so I've been creating lessons, been running some PD sessions, some demos, trying to help y'all out. And last week, if you were here, we started with what I called Kira 101, and it was how to create an account, how to add a section, and how to add students to those sections. Then once you created the sections and put the kids in, then it was how to create a lesson from the lesson builder, and the lesson builder utilizes grade, subject, objective, standard, and it created an interactive lesson from that. Well, that took the entire hour. So make sure you go back, take a look at it, skip through the parts where I'm dragging a little bit. For those of y'all up north, probably don't speak fast enough for you, so watch me in time and a half, and it'll be all right. For everybody else, we're going to go ahead and walk into this with the understanding that you already have your Kira account established. So if there is an issue with that, pause, relax, and breathe. Go back, watch the other video, or send me a message and I'll help you personally. Then once we get you created, then we'll catch you up to speed. Kira is about taking the edge off. It's about helping you find your place so that you're not overwhelmed, so you're not coming home frustrated every night, so you're not on the edge of burnout. And look, before you think that we're trying to replace everything you've built, teachers are proud. They don't want to have to give up curriculum that they've worked so hard to create. We're not asking you to do that. I wouldn't devalue your time that way. I'm showing you how you can use this as a supplement. You can use it as your whole curriculum can be this. But if you got stuff you already like, why don't you give us a chance to show you what we can do? All right. With that being said, let's jump into the platform. I may have gone ahead and logged in so it looks something like this. There we go. So here within Kira, when you come into the home page, again, all these tools fixing to drop big time Tuesday. Kira 2.0 launch is coming, and all these new features are going to be there. Now, for those of y'all who've been using Kira 1.0, the old setup, man, this is going to be drastically different. Okay? Same great platform, just so much more. Now, like I've said before, when you come in here, your AI tools are across the top. This Lesson Builder, Lesson Studio here. This is great. That's what we used last week when I was showing you how to do things. We got so many more things to get into. But again, let me just go back and reiterate. If you're looking for that AI tools, you can see it here at the top, right here where it says see all AI tools, you can select it. But that is found by looking right here under create on the left-hand side in the drop down. When you select it, AI tools is the option. That's what brings this up. Now, in your AI tools, you're going to find those studios like Lesson Studio and Course Studio. The difference is Lesson Studio builds the lesson. Course Studio is 180 days, if that's what it is. Day 1 to day 180. Build the whole thing in there. set it up, and it's your course, your material, the way you want it. I understand that you have your curriculum. Integrate it. Bring it on board. That's what this is for. It's finding a way to help you keep your sanity, okay? Chat pods, well, you've heard of chat bots, but these are chat pods because Kira is an octopus. And these are customized so that you can put these on for your class when you choose to. Integrate them into a lesson. You set the time, you set the topic, and you get to monitor. So if one of your precious angels gets on there and puts stuff that's inappropriate, you're going to know. It also lets you know how active they've been. I mean, it's got a lot of cool tools right there, and it helps the kids. I use it as a review before my tests. Your assessment builder to create and manage assessments. Rubrics. Now, I know y'all are all familiar with rubrics. We've had to use them on everything. But the cool thing is that when you create a rubric in Kira, you save it. And then you can use that rubric multiple times in other assignments or assessments. Build once, use multiple. Your lesson plans, if you're just trying to create a lesson plan to use as a guideline, it's great. As far as your other tools go on, these are the standard tools that you've seen before. I love the AI content detector, okay? I love the plagiarism checker. I use those, I really do. And the kids hate it when I tell them I'm gonna open it up. But then they start picking on each other and placing bets on whose is gonna be what percent. Your email rewriters, text translators, text summarizers. This Make It Relevant tool, I love this for the students because it creates buy-in from the kids when they can see how what they're doing relates to the world around them. And when you personalize it, you get them. So reference letters, lesson warm-up, study guides, progress reports, everything's in here. These are all the standard tools, and they're more than enough to do what you need to do. Now, I can talk about Kira. I can go in and tell you about the coding side of it and how we get in on that. I can walk you through Pepper the Platypus. We can talk an entire hour just about the Quit Grader. But I think why y'all are here is because you want to see Kira 101 and you want to see the lesson studio, but you want to see it from the standpoint I already got my material. How do I make a lesson? How do I create an interactive assignment for my students? I don't care if you use it to create one problem. It can do it. Now, what I have done is I went ahead and put a folder here on my computer called Kira Learning. And inside of that, I loaded multiple courses so that we could build some sample from the material. So let's go here inside the lesson studio. When we slide inside the lesson studio, last week we worked just off of Choose Standards. And for those of y'all who weren't here last week, let me go ahead and tell you, this is done by selecting your state. I'm going to select Tennessee. Your subject, I'm going to select, math. We're going to go ahead and select 9th grade. And the topic function, the concept is functions. Now here are all the objectives that have to deal with functions. From that, we selected a function. Understand that a function from one set called the domain to another set called the range assigns to each element of the domain exactly one element of the range. If f is a function and x is an element of its domain, then f of x denotes the output of f corresponding to the input x. The graph of f is the graph of the equation y equals f of x. Now, this is interpreting functions. This is one state standard from Tennessee. I could go ahead. Once I select that, I hit next. I can put in a specific concept of it, determining whether or not an equation is a function. I could upload potential content and generate a lesson from that. Last week when we did this solely allowing Kira to generate the lesson. But there are two other options. Now, if you got a chance to come by FETC, to see our booth, or if you came to TCEA to see us, you would see that we focused and did a lot of building right here with the Paster Prompt middle section. It is the fastest, the most customizable, the one that's set up for after a test, after a lab, you need a little mini lesson or a mini assignment to be there, and it custom builds based off what you have. And we're going to look and compare the difference between Paster Prompt with import content. You ready? So Paster Prompt, when you go in there, you describe what's going on. You pick your grade level, 9th grade. You pick your duration, 30 minutes, and your lesson type. This is where Paster Prompt is different. You have the option to do concept introduction, skill development and practice, application, exploration or inquiry, review reinforcement, or create some form of assessment. Now, a lot of times we're looking at skill development and practice. We're trying to make sure that those kids can prove to us they understand what's going on. If it's coming after a lab, I can see it. I may even put it in an exploration or inquiry base, okay? If it's after a test, I may be talking about concept introduction for the next section that we're walking into. And then that way the students can do it at their pace so that no one feels forced to turn in test early. And I would never try to hinder their academic success like that. So you have options with the Paster Prompt. The other thing is right down here at the bottom, upload content. This is where you would upload your information. Now, before, under choose standards, let's go back and take a look at the standard that we had selected. And again, I can't remember which one it was, but I think it was this one. I'm going to highlight that standard and I'm going to copy. Now, if you have these standards and you have them already out there, it's great. If you don't, I just copy the standard from that side and paste it in here. If there's a specific thing you're wanting it to do to stay in the theme of a, I don't know, cartoon or some kind of book or storyline that you're working with. We had one of our teachers at our school who loves dad jokes. So when he does all of his stuff, he does everything in dad jokes. I got another teacher who tells Chuck Norris facts every day. So you could make it fit along with that theme. I'm just pasting the objective in there so you can see it. I am going to select 9th grade. I will select 30 minutes and I will select, I don't know, skill development and practice. Here I could upload content just to create the outline. This isn't even going to create the lesson. To generate the outline is going to take a minute. The rule of thumb is if Kira is spinning, she's thinking. That's the way I like to look at it. Now, an outline can take a couple minutes to generate, depending upon how long the lesson is. And remember that every one of these outlines is fluid. You can change anything that you want at any time. You can add additional problems, take stuff away, add new sections. You can reword everything to where it fits the way that you want it to. Right now, she's finished. So she'll start right here with a 5-minute introduction to Anchor. Students are going to watch an interactive video, identify patterns, bridge language concepts, read explicit definitions, examine examples, introduce to function notation, reinforcing everything through guided practice, applying and integrating. And you can add all the different sections that you want. Once you have this outline set up the way you want it, then Kira actually starts to build the interactive lesson. Now that's cool. If I hit generate, boom, she's going to sit there and she's going to run. No problem. Me personally, I'd like to look at this a different way. Okay. She's building this interactive lesson right now. And it's going to sit right here and it's going to create, again, only a little 30-minute little mini reinforcement practice, making sure that they understand everything that's going on. This will take several seconds. You see that Kira has to find a video, and that video has got to be tagged education. So for those of you who are on the YouTube block because of it being considered social media, your IT department can bypass the YouTube filter because of the education tag on the YouTube video. Once everything is brought in here, it will be loaded, but everything that's found is still fluid. That's what this little area is for the chat over here on the side. Anything you want to do, you jump in the chat. You tell Kira to change it. You don't like an image or you need another image. You want to change the multiple choice problems to fill in the blank or short answer. Maybe you want to include some matching. It's all down here. Maybe you've got some images that you've had that you want to upload. You can put them in there. You can add an extra interactive video. You can have a speak aloud section. Embed your Google Slides. Put it right here. Everything is good to go. Now, again, this will take a minute to finish generating. And as you look down the list, you'll see it's already starting to populate everything that's there. Now, this draft is fluid. If I come back to it later, my function machines will be there. And I can work on it. She'll continue to build this in the background. If you want to see what the student version looks like, hit the play button. Right now, I've got it locked, so the students must complete the steps to access the next step. This is great for asynchronous learning. Coming in after a lab, after a quiz or a test, while you're waiting on everybody else to get finished up, perfect. If you're absent and you've got to have a sub there, asynchronous. That way the sub becomes a facilitator and you don't have to worry about the kids getting the information because you've already taken the time to load it into the lesson. Here, the students would have to complete each step individually. Right here, no questions have been identified here. It's currently taking a transcript of the video, and then it will cue questions from the transcript and put those into here and lock the video so you have to watch it so far before you can answer those questions. Below that, think about it. Now, again, they won't be able to proceed until they've answered all the questions. Here, it's still going to load the image. It's going to take time, but this outlines the key vocabulary, function versus not a function, okay? Multiple choice statements, making sense and evaluating, filling in the blanks, working your way down, and finally at the bottom here, applying to make sure that you understand. When we get out of this preview here, we'll see our current status where we can scroll through. Right now, it looks like it has identified 4 different questions from that video and is generating those questions to go there. Now, the cool thing about it, and this is something that not a lot of people talk about, is that because we referenced that standard, every question that Kira generates is going to be linked to that standard. So when 2.0 rolls out and student profiles come on board, you can now pull up a student profile and it's going to show you where your students' weak points are so that you can assign remedial work. And again, the auto grading on the multiple choice or the auto scoring on the short answer or long answer saves you tons of time. It helps automate those tedious administrative steps that go into every day so that you can spend more time just doing what you do, teaching. That's what it's about. So again, here's an example. It's loaded the questions in here so you can see how they work. And it's worked its way, loaded the image in, and come down the page. Now, once we get done, again, we can publish this, we can assign it, share it to your other teachers, have teachers work together to build a lesson, and then share that lesson between them. Another thing that you can do here with the paster prompt is you can upload content. Now here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go under a file upload and I'm going to look here from my desktop and I am going to find in my Kira lessons, I'm going to find Unit 3, Lesson 2, in which I have a PowerPoint. I have some guided notes. I have my lesson plans. I'm going to open these up. Now, if you take a look, the upload right here, we're monitoring how that happens. While we wait, let's set this up for, I don't know, 9th grade. We'll set the duration at 30 minutes. We'll set the lesson type as skill development and practice. And we'll say functions that return a value. Now, I'm not sure which state standard it is, because with this standard that we had before, that was to determine whether or not it was a function. This is something completely different. We're talking about functions that return a value. You can see that here from the label. When I go to generate outline, let's try this again. Oh, excuse me. I did not have all of those as Word documents. If you want to upload a PDF, a PowerPoint, I found that the easiest way to do that is to convert it to a PDF first. And then once you do that, you're going to be good to go. I'm going to give Kira a second to see what she can do. Well, here. Boom. Now, while you may have thought that this was a math program, it's not. It's one from my computer science class. This is about working in Python and writing functions that return values back to the program. Here, it's gone ahead and set up a 30-minute with a hook in the introduction and guided practice. Now, the cool thing about Kira is that originally it was designed for CTE, and it brings everything on board, but it's expanded into all subjects now. Here, if you look, 5 minutes for the hook, 7 minutes for an introduction of return statements and return values, 8 minutes for a guided practice, 7 minutes for application, functions calling functions, and 3 minutes closure, return the value mastery check and reflection. One thing it doesn't close on here is an exit ticket. I know that those are a really big deal. I love to show how you can add a section to this. So if you just add a step at the bottom and you call it exit ticket, then the description is to include an exit ticket question for mastery of concept. And we'll say that this should take maybe 5 minutes. You can change anything you want. Somewhere in here, like guided practice, this says to arrange and jumble code blocks, practice storing values, debug common errors, write a function. Somewhere in here, we can put to change this from 8 minutes to 12 minutes. And we can say to include 5 multiple choice problems over return functions. Now, once you've got everything in there the way you want and your outline is on track, that's when you hit generate. Now, again, we're back to where we were. Functions that give back. At this point right here, Kira is going to help create an interactive lesson, but you got to understand what Kira creates is not the finished product. Kira is a starting point. It's a launch pad. Add in your stuff. Make it you. Bring it on board for your theme of your class and your style kids. Don't stick with a cookie cutter interactive lesson. Too many times I see teachers go through PDs and they get excited because they see how they can build a lesson, but they never learn how to edit it. So later on, when they're creating new ones, they get frustrated because it's not exactly the way they want it. And they get frustrated and they walk away from it. I want you editing the lessons from the start to personalize them to make them yours. I want you to take the time to go through it. I want you to play with it. I want you to use the Kira chat here on the side. Challenge it. If something doesn't work, let us know. I contact Kira all the time and tell them, I can't get this feature to work, or I think I'm doing something wrong because this doesn't work here. And they either let me know, or our rep will either let me know that I'm doing it wrong, or that it's a feature that hasn't been enabled yet. And then within a few days, it's done. I was missing standards. I called them. It took them just a matter of days to get all the standards loaded. So you have to understand, they're going to do the part for you. Many of these other platforms you use are an inch wide. They do one thing really well, but that's it. They do one thing. Kira is designed as a tool that puts everything in one location, so you don't spend all the time copying and pasting from multiple platforms and trying to create something. No, it does it all right here for you. Let's take a look at this lesson that it's creating, okay? Now here, let's see it on the student side. So right now what we have, functions that give back, mastering return values in Python. Oh, take a look. It's already gone in, found a Python video about using functions and returns. Watch the video to find out how it flows back and forth every day. And ask a question. This is open-ended question up to 150 characters, short answer. Students can submit and get immediate feedback on this. Next step. Now, again, images will load. It talks about in Python return statements, do this. Now, here's an example. Look, it's gone ahead and created a program, created a function called calculate area, in which there are two different parameters that are being passed into it, length and width. It finds that the area is equal to length times width, and it returns that value back to the program. So here, when I say that my room area is equal to this function, calculate area, that's this up here at the top, putting in the two values, 10 and 12, that tells me that my output is 120. So I know that room area is going to be 120, and that's what it's going to show on the screen. So understanding the way this works, having real Python code for the students to work with and to see is massive. When you come in here, hey, look, drag your pieces in order where they should go. Let's actually make a code work. And then it tells you if you're right or not. Take a look at this. Tell me what's going to happen. What's the output of this code? What's wrong with this code? Actual multiple guess questions, just like I asked for, correct? Once they make it through here, the power of modular code. Again, more samples. Your turn. Build a grade calculator. Now, this is where it's different. Here's the information over here. If they go to run it, it's going to come over here on the side and show them what's going on. Complete the two functions below. I don't have something right. I've got to fix it. They give you the starter code. The kids work on completing the errors, getting everything set, and submitting it. And then why is breaking code into smaller functions helpful? Closure, walking through, understanding how everything worked, seeing another example, putting it in your own words, and then creating some kind of an exit ticket where they wanted to make sure you understood what was happening. All of this from that prompt I gave it. When you come back here, it's just, it's amazing what Kira can do for you. Now, it did this from me loading in those sample values, correct? Anytime we load that stuff in, let me come back here. I'm looking under my library. Here's functions that give back. And then this one, which we modified just a short time before that, function machines, understanding domain, range, and function notation. These lessons that I created are sitting right here, making sure that you're taken care of. Now, these were all made using the Lesson Studio under Paste and Prompt. The other thing that you can do is right here. Import from your Google Drive, load from a web link, or file upload. Now, anytime you go to do this, let's see what we have. I'm going to look at the student notes, the student handout, the lesson slides, the lesson guide, the lab slides, an assessment. I'm including all information from cybersecurity management, from cybersecurity to, I think it's lesson 3. Yeah. Lesson 3.1.2, file system management. Now, I just uploaded a lot. I'm going to go ahead and pick my grade. 12th grade. I'm going to give it a moment to finish loading those. Duration, 30 minutes. But I'm going to wait for all of these to move to where it's uploaded. Now, again, everything that you need can be found right there. When you upload these files, please make sure that they're Word documents or in PDF file. Okay. I don't know why, but I always make sure that I put my PowerPoints, I convert those over to PDFs before I load them for the students to take a look. That way they don't actually have the original file and they can't change information in it. It's made it a little bit easier for me. Now, students themselves in my classroom, they respond well to Kira. One of the things that they like about it is that they can work by themselves or they can work as a team and share information. And these task force that they work on to come up with their solutions, it does work pretty well. All right, if you look here, all the files I've uploaded. So let's go ahead and generate the outline. Now here, I did not have to tell it what we were working on. All of that's going to be included within it. Now, if you look right here, let's explain how the file system structures organize data across Windows and Linux operating systems. Compare and apply file permissions using NTFS, Linux, identify valid file naming conventions, metadata, and demonstrating proper file organization practices. All of this built into this little mini lesson on organization, permissions, and security across operating systems. Didn't take it very long to create a hook. You're understanding file system structures and organization, decoding file permissions, NTFS and RWX systems, applying permissions and managing file attributes, and integration and reflection, designing secure file systems. Again, if you would like to add a step, please go ahead and add a step. Come in here somewhere, this just so you can see how it works compared to the other. Include 5, fill in the blank, and matching questions for mastery. Make that 12 minutes. I'll make sure that I go ahead and include an exit ticket. And don't worry, if you do misspell, Kira understands that. As long as she knows what you're talking about, she's still good to go. If you forget the C in exit ticket, it'll be fine. Include a short answer, thought-provoking question about the lesson. 5 minutes. Now, the other thing is this, when you're here and you don't exactly know what you want to do, you can talk to Kira and Kira can help you out. We're going to go ahead and set this up. I've got everything I need. I'm going to generate the lesson for this outline. Now, you already saw the name Mastering File Systems, Organization, Permissions, and Security Across Operating Systems. While this is going on, again, Kira begins creating your interactive lesson. I challenge you, though, to go back, find your own material and load it. Don't just stay with what's originally generated. I'm not sure um, what curriculum provider you're using. In cybersecurity, we're teaching CompTIA standards, and we can use multiple providers to teach that information. So sometimes we'll bring in some of the work from them. I've been working with our welding and our culinary classes, as well as our other computer science. We brought on board some of our history courses, wanting to see what they can do with it. And it's really starting to turn some heads. Kira's got the potential to do a lot to help the school get stuff in line. Well, I just had an error in generation notice pop ups. First time I've ever had that happen. But I mean, that's what happens when you're on a live meet. Things like this happen. So we'll see where this goes and what actually comes out of it. She's trying to generate, and that's what happened. Was she stopped her generation at that point? Um, it is unfortunate that that happened. So we can jump back in there and we can try to create that again. Import content. We are going to file upload. And again, I will pick the student notes, handout, lesson slides, and lesson guides. I'm not going to, this time I'm not going to bring in the lab slides or the assessment. That right there will be enough. The lab slides are done. We're using cyber.org. And because it has an interactive simulator, so they can go in and run Windows Server 2022, Ubuntu, Ali, Windows, I think it's Windows 10, and they can run those to do their experiments on their network. And so I like having those. But we don't have to worry about that in here. Right now, we've set it for 12th grade, file system management. And again, we're going to try to generate an outline. Now, don't forget, we've already generated 2 other mini lessons tonight when we first started this. And we want to make sure that everybody's on board and this makes sense. So quickly, it identifies your learning targets, hierarchical structure of Windows systems across Windows, Mac OS, analyzing and applying appropriate file and folder permissions, evaluating file naming conventions, and demonstrating proper file management techniques. Now, these are the same ones that we had before for our learning targets. They may be worded slightly different, but that's what's going on there. Again, I will create the exit ticket. We will say to include a thought-provoking short answer question about, just about the lesson. I am going to change that to 5 minutes. I will come up here somewhere under the scenarios and I will tell it to include 5 fill in the blank and matching questions about file and folder permissions and change that time from 8 minutes to 12 minutes. Now that we have this here, we'll hit generate. We'll see what happens. So many of y'all have used Kira before. Some of you have not, and that's cool. No worries with that. But for those of you who've used Kira in the past, you have a library that's starting to fill up with lessons, mini lessons, rubrics, assessments that you've created in Kira. You could organize those when you look in your library by creating a collection. A collection is essentially a file folder in which you can move in those specific items so that they're organized for you. Change your name and order your collections to make sure you're on task for what's happening. At our school, we have our librarians because librarians work with all subjects and all students in all grades. They use the collections to organize each subject. And that helps them keep track of what's going on in there so that when they get ready to go. Now here, this is master file systems, organization, permissions, and security across operating systems. Here's your hook and understanding, your video, your questions. Everything seems to be progressing. We'll see how that works. I will close out of the chat just so we can take a look at it. So again, these are AI generated images. You don't have to worry about copyright issues and things like this. You're looking, this is talking about looking for specific files. What are you going to do? How are you going to find it? Here's a reflection question, 600 characters for this. Under the question setting, this is where you can select completion points. You can look and attack it how you want, or you can add a rubric from one of the ones that you've had. You can have AI generate one for you and then edit it, or you can load one that you currently have in your library. And that's how hard it is to add a long response question. As you move on down, it covers file systems, information on it. It's found a video about Linux. It'll work on that for us. Again, here, file paths and examples as it completes the entire lesson. So when you're loading your files, remember, you can make this however you want. A lot of times, I'll make a lesson, but a lot of times I'll take the video aspect out of it so that the students can complete it on their own. And the reason why I say that, and this is something you need to think about, there are times I remove the video simply because I don't want 35 students hitting play at different times with their volume down low because they left their headphones at home, and then all you hear is 35 different voices constantly echoing over each other, because while they may start low, they have to turn the volume up so they can hear themselves above everybody else. A lot that you can do right here. As this continues to load, we'll see what happens. We're going to come back and check on this. Let's head over to the library so we can see what's going on. Anytime your side is compressed, please select the K for Kira. It's going to open it up. Your third option, it looks like a book. It's a library book. Please make sure you select that. Down here, here are my collections. I'll go ahead and create a collection. It now says new collection. When I select my three dots that are stacked on top of each other, we call that your snowman. Go ahead and click on the snowman and hit edit details. Here, instead of new collection number 5, I'm going to call it Kira 101. Now, I can upload an image if I have it, or I can generate with AI. If I go to generate with AI, it'll create a cover, and I'll hit save. Once I have this going on, all of my lessons that I've been creating can now be drug into that collections folder. So Unit 3, Lesson 1, IPv4 addressing, it's dropped in. The item changes to 1. Fractions are going in there. The function machine is going in there. Functions that give back, mastering file systems, they're all in there. When I open up that collection, now it's just those tagged under Cura 101. Remember, we have a ton of new features that are opening up. Some of them show, some of them go live, of course, on the 2nd, whenever we roll out Cura 2.0. All are available to our teachers who are getting on board now, trying to see some of this stuff. Again, the big difference with Cura is whether or not your school has an integration. Okay? That's above my pay grade. I'm trying to show you how to simplify your life. Now, you can manually roster your kids into your class and get them in there so you can do your stuff, or you can set it up with your school so that the LMS auto rosters and passes grades back and forth, and in a perfect world, that's what we're going to do. If I can help with that, let me know. But right now, what you need to understand is that the stuff that you're creating can be organized over here on the side so that it's easy for you to create your units, your lessons, and then your entire course. When you go to create a course and you go to create a lesson, you can create it from the lesson that you've already stored in your library. You're just adding it to your course. Putting these features there means so much. Let's take a look at what we did today. First thing that we started with was function machines, understanding domain, range. As this one is completed, as we look through it, we'll see that there are 3 time-stamped questions that go in. These run through the entire lesson, ready to roll. Now, fluid lessons. Some of my teachers didn't understand what I meant when I said fluid lessons. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. This lesson's already created. It's already ready to roll out to the kids. So what does that mean? I want to change anything in it, I can go to Ask Cura. And I can ask Cura to replace the image in step 1 with a large function machine of bright colors. Now, again, I don't know. I don't know what you want to change about it, but I'm telling you that Cura created a chat for the teachers who don't understand how to use these tools yet, of changing the text and the media or the interactive stuff. That's what the chat does. Let it do the work. Okay? So it's generating a new image, and hopefully it's going to be a large function machine and it's going to have bright colors. Another thing that you can do when you come on down, you're looking at this and you're down here on step, what step is this? Step 5. We're looking at step 5, correct? This is where we have all these multiple choice problems. Okay. Again, hopefully it's finished. I don't know, but we're going to tell it to change the multiple choice questions in step 5. How many of them is it? Let's see, step 5. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's 3 multiple choice questions. Okay. So the 3 multiple choice questions in step 5 to fill in the blank. Let's look back up and see if the image is finished. And just like that, there's you a larger function machine with bright colors. the more specific you are, the easier it is for Kira to come up with your solution. Now, when I asked Kira here, if you look in the chat window to change it, there's a reasoning that goes to it. And it says the user wants to change the multiple choice questions in step 5, and it references them, right? Problem 1, problem 1, problem 2, well, problem 1, problem 2, problem 3. So now I'm converting these to all fill in the blank format and updating each component. Let's head on down there and see what that looks like. As we get to, here we go, 5, practice time. Let's see. Oh, here's a fill in the blank. Here's a fill in the blank. Here's a fill in the blank. Drag and drop. Which one goes where? And then the last problem, which was already a long response. So utilizing Kira to do the work of editing your lesson is essential in, reaching your students. What you have to understand is that, again, because these lessons are fluid, you can change it as you need to from year to year, class to class. You can copy that resource, go ahead, duplicate it, change their names, whatever, mark your favorites, make sure you hold on to it. You have all kinds of options available for you. When you looked under mastering the file permission systems, again, here, we come back to it to see how it works. It's loading everything in there, trying to get everything. Now, I know that it takes time to get this in there, to reference everything, to connect it to a state standard so that it matches up, so that they can chart how each student does. There's a lot that goes on with the HQIM that is created by Kira so that they can accomplish this. Every Wednesday, essentially, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to take a Wednesday or 2 off. Of course, I got spring break coming up, and then we're going to be at it. I try to run for a few weeks on each concept, and then I'm going to start over. So if you have any questions, I don't want you to hesitate to reach out and let me know what you need. Understand that under the lesson studio, whether you choose the standard from the start and have it build a full lesson, whether you paste or prompt where you pick your duration and you pick the lesson type, or if you import content directly from a folder, but make sure again that it is a PDF file, something like that, so that they can access it. Let it create that information for you and go from there. And then once you're done, play with it, personalize it, and make it your own. Okay? That's it for Kira 101 tonight. I appreciate you hanging in, hanging out, and hanging on while we tried to run through this. I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Again, once I finish with this, I'll make sure that it's loaded up to the YouTube channel and links go into social media. So if you want to look back over any of that, you can. If you need to reach out to me, you've seen my name on everything we've created. It's Harl.Rame. So you'll find me at Harl Rame on YouTube. That's the easiest way to find the videos. But yeah, find me on LinkedIn. Drop me a line. Let me know what you need. I'd love to help out. We'll be back at it next week. And until then, keep grinding and have fun with it.